project do not recognize the artist's name. She might, if the conversation persists, try describing a few of his performance works. He's the artist who locked himself in a cage for a year? Who punched a clock on the hour every hour for a year? Who lived outside in the streets of New York City for a year without going into any buildings? Sometimes, in response, there might be a nod of recognition. More often than not, their faces are blank as hard-boiled eggs. You could say the artist's performance works, his extreme acts of physical and mental endurance, are the heavyweights of projects. The kaiju of projects. A lazy twitch from the tail of one of his projects could level a metropolis of lesser projects. Yet for most of his career, he remained an underground figure, for all the usual reasons. He didn't become famous the way other artists synonymous with the downtown art scene of the 1980s became famous. Basquiat, Herring, Sherman, Schnabel. He didn't share a booth with Warhol at Max's Kansas City. He didn't do lines in the unisex restroom at the Mud Club. He was in and of the margins, one of a loose community of artists who made up an alternative to the alternative art scene. Very few people had actually witnessed any of his performances, but the truth was, you didn't need to. You could be standing on a tenement rooftop at a party listening to a stranger describe, in an incredulous conspiratorial tone, what the artist had done and forget about him for years, only to have a casual mention uncover the memory like the sound of a mountain. The artist, Tim Etchells, has described his first encounter with the artist's work. This was at a cinema in Sheffield in 2001. By then, the artist had driven himself further underground with a series of hermetic, bewildering performance pieces that resulted in his disappearance from the art world altogether. A year before the talk he gave in Sheffield, the artist had emerged briefly, after more than a decade of silence, to announce that he wouldn't be making art anymore to a public that had largely forgotten him. That was more than 16 years ago. The talk that Etchells saw was about the artist's body of work, 6 performance pieces in all, before his self-imposed exile. The artist explained that after spending a year confined in a cage that he'd built in his downtown loft, he embarked on his next project in April 1980. Every hour on the hour for an entire year, he punched a time clock. He clicked through a slideshow, snapshots of himself as a much younger man standing in the same spot with the same slightly doleful yet resolute look on his face. This is day 53. This is day 54. This is from day 55. In the dim illumination of the theater, the artist stood very straight. His tone was impassive. He offered no interpretation, no betrayal of feeling. From his seat in the audience, Etchells felt sunk. He felt as though a hole had opened up beneath him. The hole unnerved him because it also felt familiar. It was not a new hole, but one, he realized, that had been there all along. The artist's work had made it visible. I was silenced by what I saw, Etchells wrote. I think I was frightened. Was what he was seeing art or pathology? Etchells wasn't sure. The artist's performance pieces were ephemeral, vanished acts, yet they were freighted too with the labor of their making, the days advancing drop after drop, one barely distinguishable from the last, into the black well of the hole. This is a project about looking down into that hole. 1 year performance, 1978 to 1979. September 30th, 1978. Statement: I, Sam Hsieh, plan to do a 1-year performance piece to begin on September 30th, 1978. I shall seal myself in my studio in solitary confinement inside a cell room measuring 11 feet 6 inches by 9 feet by 8 feet. I shall not converse, read, write, listen to the radio, or watch television until I unseal myself on September 29th, 1979. I shall have food every day. My friend Cheng Wei Huang will facilitate this piece by taking charge of my food, clothing, and refuse. Sam Hsieh. The New York Art World,